Hello everybody and welcome to our HOLA Spotlight in the month that we're celebrating We Are Indigenous as part of the HOLA Diversity Initiative. Today we are super honored to have with us artist, spiritual teacher, an amazing human being, José Hernández. José, welcome. I'm going to read just a very small part of your wonderful bio. So José Hernández was an electrical engineer for most of his life with no background or degree in art. After a near-death experience in January 2000 and a long, difficult physical recovery, his life path changed dramatically. In 2004, José began creating art as a meditative tool. His work has now exhibited in galleries across the US and hangs in private and corporate collections worldwide and in permanent installations. A profile of José's experience and work is featured in the Netflix docu-series Surviving Death, scheduled for release worldwide early 2021. So thank you very much and welcome, José. To get to know you a little better, we're just gonna watch a little something on you and then we're gonna talk. Thank you.
I wound up in hospital for 3 months. My prognosis was you're not gonna leave this space alive, so begin to take care of your affairs. My lungs shut down, my heart stopped. Wound up in a trauma room in a hospital, of course, and they're trying to revive me. And whilst they're trying to revive me, I have what is most people call a near-death experience. I wound up in this realm that was just, I was surrounded by color. But what was significant about the color was that it had the same life force that I have. It was creating this incredible sense of love and peace and calm and acceptance. It accepted me. It got to the point where the color was kind of drawing me towards it, or the color was moving towards me, I don't know which. But ultimately I became the color. And I finally came back, and when I came back I noticed that the CPR people were just struggling to keep me alive. And you start thinking about all your loved ones and things like that. Whilst in the hospital, because I was in there for 3 months, was every time I heard that cold blue, I would escape to that realm where I saw the colors, and that's where I found peace. I found peace and calm, and the reason I'm here is because those colors, in my opinion, help to heal me. The memory of the colors and what I saw was so intense, and it just kept coming up in my thoughts all the time. I couldn't really get away from it. I decided that I needed to find a way to bring it to life. If that was what helped me get out, maybe we could create something that could help others. And not only in the hospital environment, but just to reduce anxiety and stress. I mean, the wonderful moments are great. We don't have to escape from those, but when things get a little tough or things are a little hard and we're just running, we need to take a breath. If I was healed with the memory of color, I'm just wondering if the actual frequency of color has that capability.
Okay, José, so after we watch this very profound experience that you have had in your life, I want you to tell us a little bit about yourself, because normally we would ask people, you know, when did you first know you wanted to become an artist or a painter, but I know you have a very different and unique path. So please go ahead.
Thank you, Inma. That was a beautiful introduction. I am totally honored to be here on HOLA. And I hope that this next hour is a great hour for everyone that kind of tunes in. I will tell you a little bit about myself. I was born in the South Bronx. My father is indigenous. My mother is French and Spaniard. It's an interesting combination, which kind of set me up in life in a certain way. It's what made me decide I wanted to be more science-based and get into the engineering field. And it really started with the issue of religion. My mother was a devout Catholic. My father being indigenous, it's very different ways of thinking. So my mother believed God was in a church, in a building. When I would speak to my dad about it, his thing was, look outside. Creator is everywhere. So the words were different. One was God, one was creator. And anyway, I kind of danced around all that. And so that I didn't pick sides, I decided I was going to do neither. And as I grew up and I started to study more science and more science, I became more science-based. And I thought of religion as something that we needed as people to help assure us that we're more than what we are. Incredibly enough, I get up one day, and I was living in South Florida at the time, and I wind up going to hospital. They had given me some medication for, I had broken some ribs at work, and I had an allergic reaction. And I couldn't breathe, so they took me to the hospital. And, you know, it's a strange thing because I'll never forget the day. It was cloudy. It was January. It was kind of cool for Florida. But I never thought of it as the day that I was going to die. And so I go to hospital, and I'm struggling to breathe. It's late at night. I get in about 11. And I had told my wife at the time, my ex-wife, to go home, that I was going to be okay, not to worry. So they left. My son had come with her. And they went home, and I stayed in the ER. And I remember the nurse coming to me and saying, look, if you feel anything, just push this button. And I said, okay, don't worry, I will. And about 45 minutes later, I was really struggling to breathe. But more importantly, I was struggling with the issue of being a man. Do I need to push this button? I could tough this out. I'm going to be okay. I'm going to make it. And I waited till the last minute, of course. And I finally pushed the button, and the nurse comes, opens the thing, the door to the room. She just looked at me, and she hit the wall, and she hit the code blue. In my head, it's not registering. I'm like, not even thinking what she did. But the next thing I know, a few minutes later, this room is filled with people. And I'm going to try to describe this quickly. I went through a series of emotions, because the first thing I did was I was trying to hang on to the sheet that was covering me because I was ashamed, and they was taking everything off of me and stripping me down. And I just, for some strange reason, felt shame because I couldn't stop them. And then I started, you know, they started to put all these medications on me. I had all these IV tubes put on, and I'm struggling to breathe, wondering, you know, I'm going to be okay. It's not going to be that bad. After a while, I get this huge knot in my chest. And I started thinking, what if something happens to me? Nobody's going to know. I'm going to die alone here. And it's 2 o'clock in the morning now. Who's going to know about it? They'll never get here in time, even if they got notified. So I started thinking about my kids, and I had a couple of grandkids that, and I was thinking I'll never see them again, and it just broke my heart. Sorry, it's
No, it's fine. It's fine. Take your time. Take your time, and thank you for sharing with us such a profound
thank you.
Experience. You take your time. We're here for you.
Thank you. It's 20 years, but it still cuts me deep. Just that thought. And anyway, I got past that, and then I started to think, you know, what if God was real? And I went through that moment of saying, God, if you're real, this is a good time for you to kind of come in here and intervene and help me to get out of this mess. And the answer was, my heart became very regular, and I could feel it in my chest like a horse galloping. It was going crazy. And I started to hear the IV drip sound like, if you've been in the islands, you know what a tin roof is like, and when it rains really hard, how that splash sounds on that. And I started to look at the walls, and I could see the grain in the wallpaper, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what's going on? Then I became very fearful because I started thinking, what if I am going to die? This is it. I'm going to shut off. I'm thinking like a engineer, they're going to shut me off like a light bulb, and I'm going to disappear. That made me very fearful. And I became so fearful that I wanted to ask the nurse to hold my hand. And then I started thinking about my father, who had died 5 years before. And I said, he's going to turn in his grave if he finds out that I'm being so fearful and asking for help. So I'll never forget this. I actually stiffened. My body went, I can't show fear. I can't let these people know I'm afraid. And then I went through this dying process. I actually said to myself, you know what, it's been a really hard life. You know, I've done everything I could. I did the best I could. And I'm not surrendering. I'm not quitting. But I realized that there was nothing I could do to change the series of events. So I accepted it. When I accepted it, I see this shadow by the door, and it just moves through the people around there, and it just touches me. And when it touches me, I just feel like this incredible sense of peace and love and calm. And I could breathe. I felt this wind coming, and I got this crazy long hair, so I'm thinking, oh, it's going to be blowing in, you know, in my imagination. Then I found myself in the corner of the room. I saw dead. That's me. Then who am I? And I heard a voice just say to me, you know, you got to say goodbye to your body.
Wow.
When I heard the voice and I looked at my body, and I'm going to be very honest, it was the first time that I saw my body, and I thought it was such a beautiful thing. And it was perfect for me, and how wonderful the opportunity that I had to live in this vessel, this body, how wonderful that had been. And I never thought of it that way. I was always never happy with the way I was, never happy with the way I looked. I was always this or that. There was nothing, always something was wrong with the way I looked or the way I was. And for the first time, I saw myself with such beauty and grace. And I lost the identity that we give ourselves as people. So I wasn't an engineer. I wasn't a man. I wasn't, you know, a father, a grandfather. I was none of these things anymore. I was just one with everything. And I went on in my experience, and I went into the space where I saw color after that. And if you could imagine being inside a ball right in the middle, you got this ball around you. And I'm looking at this beautiful color, and it's moving, and it's talking to me. And it's like a million voices going, shh, and I just hear it. And I get drawn into it, and I became the color. After that, I emerged on the other side. And I had the experience, the most profound experience, because I grew up in New York City. I only know big cities. And it was like these beautiful mountains and this forest so vast and beautiful. And it was odd. I'm thinking, what is this? But I continued on my journey till I met my father, who had died 5 years before, like I said. And the first thought in my head is, oh my God, I'm gonna be able to tell my dad what I couldn't tell him in life. My father believed that hugging was not manly. I don't remember ever saying, Dad, I love you, and I don't remember him telling it to me. We had a hard relationship. He had a difficult life, but you know, I was kind of, because he used to drink a bit, I used to always be defending my mom, and so we kind of had a rocky relationship. But when I was there, I said, look, I'm going to be able to do what I've never been able to do in life. I'm going to be able to say, I love you, Dad. I'm going to hug him. And I did.
Wow. In the other side.
On the other side.
Wow.
And when I held him in my arms, I became my father. And I understood what he had been through for the first time. And what was mind-boggling to me was I realized how much he loved me and how proud he was of me. I was the first one in my family to go to college and these type of things, and never thought of it before. Never thought of it before. I never thought he really cared about me much. But anyway, he sent me back, and I came back. So I went to
sorry, Jose, I have to interrupt you just to make sure the audience understands.
Yeah.
You know, so he sent you back to the earth plane, right? That's
Yes.
what you are.
He
So
sent me back
after
here.
you back and you realize how much he loved you, right? And I think that's a message for humanity too, of how much love we have for each other that we don't express probably, and the importance of expressing it. He's the one who said you are coming back to earth, right? Like explain a little, please. Thank you.
Yeah, and I didn't want to come back. But he said, no, you got to come back. And I came back. And I opened my eyes and I saw this doctor doing CPR on me. And when I opened my eyes, she got a little startled, so she leaned back a little. And I saw how hard she was working to keep me alive. Anyway, I was in the hospital for 3 months. My prognosis was you're not going to leave alive. And every time they hit a cold blue, I would be filled with fear again. And what would I think about? I thought about all those colors. And that's where I would escape. That became my default escape. So I went there every time in my head. I remember the colors. I closed my eyes and just feel that feeling, feel that love, feel that peace, that calm, and the acceptance. The colors embraced me and accepted me. And I started to get better. I left the hospital. They gave me 1.5 years to live. That was 20 years ago. After about 4 years, in 2004, I kept thinking about the colors, and I'm thinking, how can I reproduce what I saw? Because if that helped me, maybe it could help somebody else. So I started to try to think, because I don't have any pedigree in art, never painted. I'm not a typical artist that way. When I came back, I could paint to produce the pieces that I have now. I have over 100 pieces, and I'm still working on them. It's just memories of what I saw there, of different aspects of the colors that I saw, variations. And when I created them, I was thinking, this isn't art. These are just little doodles that I'm doing so that people could use it for meditations. And after my divorce, I met my new wife, Anastasia, and I had hidden this art from everybody. I never showed it to anybody. And she looked at it one day and she said, why are you hiding this? This has so much spirit in it. You got to get this out. And I looked at her and I said, no, this is just, it's not really art. It's whatever. Anyway, she got it out. She got in a bunch of galleries. It was her belief in the art that actually helped to get it out there. She helped me believe in it. And then I started to believe in my own art. And that's how the art came to be, Inma.
Well, that takes me to the, we thank Anastasia so much for seeing what you couldn't see, which happens a lot with us artists. Sometimes we say, oh no, I'm just creating this for me. And then that's when, a good friend or family member has to come and say, no, this belongs in the world needs this. So now I would love to talk a little more about your art. I know you have shared with us some beautiful pieces. I know you create based on what you felt, what you saw on the other side. And also for those who are seeing us, who say, oh my God, they're crazy. What would you tell them? Because I think you were one of those people, right? Who didn't believe any of this existed. And of course, we're not trying to tell anybody believing anything, but, I would love your perspective on that. And tell us also about your art, because your art, the world needs to know and see.
Right. So the art, when I went through the colors, it was like I got an education, a blueprint of when you go back, this is how you're going to do this. Now, it was difficult because I did think I was crazy. And when I was getting better in the hospital, I asked my cardiologist, I said, you know what? I think I went somewhere. And he looked at me and said, no, get that out of your head. You know, he said, your brain is still alive for 2 minutes after your heart stops. And then you have all these chemicals and all these drugs we were giving you. So, you know, nothing happened. You didn't go anywhere. So I was like, okay, maybe I am crazy. And I went to see psychologists for 4 years.
Oh, great. So tell us, so the psychologists and everything, right? Because you didn't even believe yourself. You have gone through this transcendental experience who sent you back with the message the world needs to know your art. Because to me, this is a message to
exactly.
help
So
others, right? Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
I didn't believe. And I went to see 4 psychologists, and I was very lucky that they didn't medicate me. They thought that something did happen to me, that it was an experience. I had a hard time with the experience, so I couldn't speak to anybody about it. I didn't speak with my ex-wife about it. I didn't tell my kids, but I was very different. I was very spiritual. And my grown-up kids still say to me today, where's the old Joe? Where's the old Joe? Because I was very science-based. Now I'm talking all the spirituality. They're looking at me like, who are you? You know, you're not that guy. But anyway.
So from the paintings that you share with us, you know, tell us, because they're very interesting, not only in color, but they represent elements, right? I've seen some based on fire or water. So would you like to tell us a little bit with the title of the piece too? So.
Well, I'm going to tell you the 3 pieces that you have. One is Vision Quest, and I'm going to read it if you don't mind it.
No,
Vision
of course.
Quest is a flower that represents the cradle of life in a sea of blue. It is that place where we have the foresight to see that threshold, that birth point. Like a lotus flower, it is the birthing place of a higher consciousness. So Vision Quest is a very indigenous name. In the art, and if you're indigenous, you're going to know where I'm coming from. Our 7 grandmothers are embedded in every art piece and what we call the Red Road, El Camino Rojo. So in there is all that, and I do integrate the elements. So there's always fire, there's always water, there's always air, and there's Mother Earth. Each painting has an aspect of that in it. And I do that by integrating photos. I paint in many layers. So I paint a piece on a canvas, then I photograph it, and I put it in my computer. That becomes one layer. Then I put layers over it, over it. I start with black. Black to me is creation. That's where everything starts. So when I look in the stars at night, I see this beautiful black canvas where all the stars get painted on, and they're created out of this emptiness, out of this blackness. So the idea when you look at the art is to go find where you really came from, where your origin is. And as we get deeper and deeper into the art and get deeper through the layers, we find that we lose the sense that I am Jose. I become a lot more. I become everything or everyone. And that's the mindset behind the art, to take us to that place where that speaks to who we really are. I'm not this body. This is just, in my personal experience, my personal view, this is a vessel that I'm borrowing to live this life in this world. When I leave this body, I move on and I continue. So when I die, I look at it like I fold into myself. Even though I left my body, I look at it like I went into myself and I went into my core. My core is my heart. And when I reach my heart, then I'm pure love. I'm pure everything else that's there. There's nothing else that I am besides that. So that's where I am.
Excellent. So besides Vision Quest, would you like to share anything else about the other paintings? So I want the whole world to know about your art too, you know, because it has a healing effect.
And I'll show you where the art is really making an impact. when I
Yes,
finish
yes.
these descriptions. So flare is an eruption of red and blue in a green passionate background. It represents the consciousness of a thought as it emerges into our minds. It is about the creative life force, the emotion that brings things together. So it speaks to, where does the thought come from? Where is consciousness? Not here. It's here in this, your heart. That is where I am connected to the source, to creator, God, whatever your belief is. The other painting that you have is Fall into Blue. And Fall into Blue is about finding the answers to the questions of who, what, and why I am. The yellow and red at the core represent the aspect of the physical being of our humanity. So they represent our passion, our desires, and all that. While the deep and rich blues that rotate around us represent the consciousness of the universe we live in. It has staccato electricity that creates a vortex drawing you to the center of the image. So it speaks to life. You know, I am in this body for a short time, and I'm going to live forever. And I may come back. I don't know. I don't know these things, but it helped me to understand all these things. And where the art really kind of started getting really well known is in hospitals and things like that. And the hospitals would put it in trauma areas, and they would think or tell me, well, we put the art there because it calms people, it helps them to feel better, helps them to relax. And I started working on 2 pet projects. I've been blessed in many ways. I was able to, I'm working on a project here where I live, on a hospital, to create a incubator for research on the actual impact on the art. And can it help somebody not take pain medications? Can it help somebody not need so much tranquilizing? Because when I was in the hospital, they gave me so many meds to keep my heart rate down that I was addicted to multiple drugs when I left, totally unaware. So the idea is, if we could get people to start using these things, the frequency of color, if it could impact us in a way that helps us to mitigate pain and things like that, we could change the outcomes of a lot of these issues. We could help keep people out of risk so I don't come out addicted. You know, I had someone that has a piece of art that had a surgery, and she said to me, you know, Jose, they gave me this oxy for 30 days, and whenever I got a lot of pain, I just look at your art, and I didn't even take one. And we have a lot of anecdotal things like that, messages from people. So the hospital actually decided, well, maybe we should research this. And then in Florida, there's a hospital called Johns Hopkins, which is very popular, which is also talking with me about creating an incubator for research there. It's a children's hospital there. So those are 2 amazing opportunities.
Wow. So when you mention, sorry, incubator for research, is like they're going to research how your art can heal their patients?
Yes. So normally in hospitals, they have research that's done in what they call common areas. So the lobbies and stuff like that, there's art. We've created an environment where we could actually put these in every room, and you control it. You pick the image you want to see. When you're in a lot of pain, you might have this picture. When you're not, you might change it to another piece of art, and they'll be collecting the data. How does it impact your breathing? Is it affecting your blood pressure? Is it helping you to calm? So that's pretty exciting, you know, because when I started with the art, I believed it healed me, but now there's an opportunity now to see if it actually does that, and if it actually could help others. That would be so amazing. I'm on these beacon of hope poles, and they're just these beautiful sculptures with glass and my art in it. And what we're doing with that is embedding these poles with all kinds of technology. So it could let you know the suicide hotline. It could let you know if you're being abused, where you might go for help. You know, even if you're a tourist, what might be nice to see there. So these are multifunctional poles, but they're engineered to light up at a certain time. and everybody takes a couple of minutes to think about, what does peace mean to me? What, what does hope mean to me? And hopefully we can begin to change this divisive world that we're in, and bring some light to it from a different perspective.
Well, you are already bringing a lot of light, and we're so grateful for that. So besides all these amazing projects, and I'm just an everyday person, and I just said, I also want to heal something, because we all need to heal something at some level. Where can people find your arts, or more about you? I know you send the website and everything, but I also want you to tell us.
So you could go to innerimmersion.org. It's a practice that I started that's art-based. So when I light this art, in a certain way, it starts to move the way I saw it.
Mm-hmm.
And when it starts to move, it's very captivating, and people get really caught up in it. If you go to that website, there's a free meditation that you could download and actually use, and get an idea of how the art actually works. And then there's José Hernández fineart.com.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the two websites where you can find some of my art and things like that. So, I ask you to come to the websites and see what it's all about. It's a lot more than a piece of art. The art moves, it's alive, it's the way I saw it. Some people speak to me about it and say it's what heaven looks like, and I get all these anecdotes. It's, I got a glimpse of heaven and things like that. So it's an opportunity to do something very simple. We all have pain, we all have suffering, we all have something that we want, and we feel like maybe I can't get it. And we begin to ask ourselves, do I deserve it? Do I not? When we work with the art, it helps us to get past all that, all the limitations that we create for ourselves, because I believe that I am creation. We're all creation. And every second that I'm here, I'm creating the next second. And then I'm creating the next second. And we're all doing that together. And if I could create that, that means that I have unlimited potential. And if I have unlimited potential, I could do anything I really want. But it's not going to happen overnight. You make a little change today, you make a commitment, and then 2 years from now, 3 years from now, your life is in a totally different space than it is now. And that's how from my perspective, how we change lives. And that's the goal. That's the goal of the art, to help people find their path, find who they are, and love who they are. We don't love who we are often. I didn't, until I had my experience. That was a hard lesson in many ways, because I said, gee, I wasted all those years. Look what I could have been doing. And that starts with that self-love. The meditation that you download free is about that. So I hope that you find your way to that website.
Yes, I'm going to repeat it. So we have your kind of your personal website as an artist, which is José Hernández with a Z, José Hernández fineart.com. And we're talking also about the other website that have the free meditations, innerimmersion.org, innerimmersion.org, because it's we have nothing to lose and a lot to win from all of that. So Jose, talking about all these wonderful things, this idea came to me. I know a lot of people have lost people in the last few months, or or even at different parts of your life. It's a painful moment for humanity right now. So what's your message for humanity? Not only right now, in general too, as an artist, as a person who had also the opportunity and the gift to really travel to the other side. And we're so happy they sent you right back, because we needed to hear this message. So what's your message for people who might be, in pain because they love somebody they love so much, and also for people who have pain in their hearts because they are depressed, they feel lonely, they don't feel connected to their own self, right? To that divine essence that we all have. So please tell us.
Well, I'll answer that in two parts. I have a good sense of what's happening with the situation with COVID right now, because I suffocated. And that's how I died. I know a lot of people are fearful that their loved ones are dying alone. But I just want to tell you that we never die alone. Someone comes to get us. A loved one, an angel. Something came for me. I didn't take that journey alone. I was led. And I want you to know that your loved ones are safe and that they love you. And at that moment, their love is just going to explode out of their heart for you and all these things that they love. And they're not going to regret a moment of it. They're going to know that they lived their life, that they loved their life, that they had love in their life, and that they are special, and they're leaving a lot of special people behind, but they know they're going to see you again. We're going to meet again. And they will wait. And I'm absolutely sure of that because I met my dad 5 years after he died. In terms of my message to the world, I think we need to take a deep breath. We need to take a deep breath and try to let it sink in, let it relax a little and understand how important and special we are. We minimize ourselves. We make ourselves so little, so worthless. And the fact is that without anything that happens at any moment, it wouldn't be able to happen if we all weren't here together in this. So we're all incredibly important. And I believe we're all angels. I believe in spiritual angels, but I believe we all play the parts of angels in our lives. You might say something to me today, and my life changed. And 3 or 4 years from now, I say, do you remember when you said that to me? You have no idea how that changed my life. That is when we're playing the part of angels, and we all do that. So I believe we're all angels. We're all love. In this world, we have something that is different from the space that I went to, and that's fear. And that fear really changes the way we think and impacts the way we live. And I think we got to start becoming less fearful. Living life. Live life. It's a gift. This is a special gift. The memories we create here is what we're going to take with us. So my advice is make good memories, make loving memories, make special memories for yourself. Because when we leave, I can't take a cent with me. I can only take my memories. And if I make good memories, then I have a lot of good things to look forward to. That's my advice to the world. Love, give your love. Don't be afraid to share your love. We get hurt sometimes, but don't be afraid to share your love. That's what we're here for. That's what we are. Love. Thank you.
No, Jose, you are so amazing and so extraordinary, and this is such a powerful message because yes, we're here to talk about artists, but here you're giving us an extraordinary life lesson that we all, benefit and we all needed to hear. And speaking of angels, I have to thank our beloved friend and teacher and transformational leader, Deborah Poundman, who is how I know you. I met you in her classes, and it's interesting enough, the moment I met you there and the day you talk about your art, I said, oh my God, I dream of meeting Jose. So this was wonderful that our beloved organization, HOLA, is highlighting artists, and special this month, indigenous artists. And I was so happy, so honored when you accepted the invitation and you have shared your knowledge, your gifts, your beautiful message with all of us. So before we say goodbye, I would like to ask if there is anything else you would like to share, anything that you forgot and want to add, or anything else you would like to tell the world.
Thank you for that. I do want to thank a few people. Deborah Poundman is one. She saw my art and she just fell in love with it. She's been a blessing, an example of an angel. She's really helped me in many ways. She has introduced me to another lovely being named Marcy Shimoff, who is one of her dear friends, and they they're really helping me to navigate through this. And they've created a lot of opportunities for me, including meeting you, Inma. So it's crazy how that works, right? I also want to thank my wife and my little one that are an inspiration all the time. But I want to thank every one of you out there, because we're all that creation force. And that's the art that I create stays here. It's not for me. I don't create it. It comes through the hand of creator. Everything we create stays here, even a recipe for food. So all the things we do because we serve each other. And it's an honor to be served by all of you, Inma, you, and my dear friend Malcolm, that nobody's going to see behind the camera here. But it's a blessing to know you and to share this moment with you. Thank you.
Thank you for your time, for your beautiful presence, for sharing with the whole world this amazing experience that can really transform all of us. And for those who, really believe in the other side, that's great. If you don't believe, that's still great, because please enjoy his paintings. They're beautiful colors. I love color too. So I'm a very colorful person always. So this is an opportunity to enjoy, to live life, like you said, enjoy every moment, because every moment is a gift. So thank you, Jose. Infinite blessings to you, to your family. The people that you thank, I call them my fairy godmothers, because they've also taught me so much in spiritual growth, and I love them deeply too. So I'm so glad we're all part of one big human family, sharing with each other and moving forward, because we are light and the light needs to keep shining. So thank you, Jose.
Much love to all of you. We didn't say blessings.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for everybody who tuned in with us. Again, this is the HOLA Diversity Initiative on the month we are indigenous. Thank you so much, and see you very soon. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.